On May 4th, 2014, I dove the Farnsworth Banks aboard the Pacific Star. We dropped down to about 107 feet and then worked our way back up the pinnacle. I went with a group of friends, mostly folks from my rescue class, along with Ben, and got to explore the pinnacle for, unfortunately, only one dive. The swell started kicking up and it became dangerous to continue. The banks themselves consist of a series of pinnacles that rise up from the sea floor. They're covered in purple hydrocoral and other types of hydrocoral. Now, the hydrocoral, some of them are more flexible, as you can see here. The purple hydrocoral that you saw in an earlier frame is much more coralline. It looks like it's a normal calcium-based coral. However, it's actually in the sponge family, and all these hydrocorals are protected. You can see JP here in front of a rock that's covered in the purple hydrocoral. There are some areas of the banks that are completely covered in this type of hydrocoral. The life here was absolutely incredible. The visibility was fantastic, at least 50 foot. The top of the pinnacle is approximately 50 feet under the surface of the water. From the top of the pinnacle, we were able to see the boat fairly clearly, so we know that the visibility was at least 50 feet. The banks provide a refuge for life, and as you'll see in future frames, huge schools of fish congregate. So this is a up-close view of the purple hydrocoral. As you can see, it looks like the stag coral that's commonly found in tropical environments. I made sure not to touch any of this stuff. I'm not sure just how structurally rigid it is, but it didn't seem to sway. Here you can see a photo, or I should say a video, of some of the just gigantic schools of fish that congregate along these pinnacles. The pinnacles are a couple of miles from the shore of Catalina Island, off the back side. And you can see they're very steep, very vertical. They go down as deep as you want. One of my friends was doing an advanced deep class, and he made it to 137 feet. There were also these jellies that were floating everywhere. They were tubular in nature. I didn't see any cilia that were propelling them through the water. This one was maybe the size of a hot dog. Here's video of one of the multiple moray eels that JP managed to spot. He found this one, and then within 2 minutes found another one that should also be on this video. It was a little hard to get stable footage. As you can see, the particulates in the water are moving in a sort of a circular pattern. There was a bit of a washing machine effect from the swells that were going on at the time. Here, the hydrocoral give way to these yellow microanemones that go as far down the wall as I could see. It was also in this place that I experienced my first down current. Right about now I'm at 70 feet or so, but within a minute I was pushed down to about 90 feet. I can really see why this is an advanced dive. You have to watch your computer. You have to watch your depth. Here's the second of the moray eels that we saw, tucked in among the small yellow anemones. Here's another one of the large schools of fish. I mean, these were thousands and thousands of fish. These particular fish were blue in color, approximately 6 inches long. I'm not sure what species they were. In and among the rocks were also a large number of scorpion fish, or sculpin. They ranged in size, but some of them were quite large, 2 feet maybe. At times, such as this, you were just in the middle of these giant schools. The life was spectacular. You didn't see a lot of large game fish. From what I understand, large game fish are able to be taken by spearfishermen, like white sea bass and things of that nature. This was another jelly that I found that I thought was particularly interesting. It had these little brown spots in them. I don't know if it was a type of an algae or some photosynthetic organism that was living in the jelly. This was a metal bucket of some sort that I found sitting on top of the pinnacle. I don't know if it was some sort of collection device or what that was a relic of an old ship. But as you can see here, all of the rocks are just covered in macro life. There were nudibranchs everywhere. Spanish shawls, various yellow varieties. I couldn't get a very good video of the nudibranch because the GoPro aren't particularly good in up-close photography. They're more meant for wide-angle, sweeping shots. But you can see this place is just covered in life. You go from one shot of fish to another. This is the end of the dive here. We only got to do the banks for one dive, and here we're doing our safety stop, just surrounded by fish. Here was the front side of Catalina. You can see all these little tiny jellyfish floating in the water. They must have just spawned. And of course, the stingray.